Welcome back. So we're doing this again. Yeah, Super Nintendo Mini. I do a lot of these because it's a popular mod. Super Nintendo Mini is great. It's a good system. I really like it. It's a surefire way to get a one chip, so that's nice. But we're doing it again because I pretty much, with this channel, I want to stream as much of my work as I can, which means that probably there will be repeats, and the most up-to-date video, I'll try to make the best video. And I feel like the last couple of videos about Super Nintendo Minis kind of got muddled a little bit due to the fact that there was just so much in there in terms of like actually building the boards and all that stuff. I'd like to break those out into separate topics, like separate videos and streams and stuff that cover that process. So I'll probably do that at a later time. So what we have here is a Super Nintendo Mini sent. This is an eBay purchase, so I haven't actually seen this one. We're all seeing this for the first time together here. Okay. Alright. Doesn't look too bad. It needs a cleaning, but otherwise, it's fine. So what we'll be doing today is, just like last time, we'll be installing the RGB bypass, Bordy's RGB bypass with C-Sync, and we'll be installing Mark's Dejitter board. So that's what's going in this one. Also, we'll be replacing C11 and R3 to do the brightness and ghosting fix. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started tearing this machine down. Also, today we're working with new lens for my camera, which is going to give me more range, more zoom range, which should be good. Get really up close and personal with some of this soldering. It may not be super necessary for today, but we'll find out. I'm pretty thrilled with it. I don't think I've ever mentioned this, but the camera I use to film these videos is actually a Sony A7S, original Mark I A7S, which I didn't purchase for this purpose at all, but it has proven to be really effective for these, and now I've got a really good lens on it. I just received it today, actually, the Sony 24-105G lens. It's gets me a lot closer, and with the digital zoom options and the 4K output and everything in this camera, I can get some pretty exceptional looking video. I'm pretty pleased with how this all turned out, because previously I was using a what was it, 18-55 APS-C lens from one of my older Sony cameras. I didn't actually have a dedicated full frame lens for this camera because initially when I bought it, and for the things I was using it for, I didn't need a full frame lens because I was using adapters and old school lenses. But my original use case has changed. It's not really a thing anymore. So here we are. Anyway, I'm pretty thrilled with the setup, though. I'm probably gonna end up acquiring more lenses as I find more different uses for this system. But really, this is the first time I've ever actually owned a high-end lens. Well, I guess medium high-end for any camera system. So that's pretty cool. I guess one time I did own a Canon 70 to 200 f2.8L. So that was pretty high end, but it was a fairly old used model, so not really up to date, but whatever. I guess that just comes with getting older and wealthier. You have more resources to buy fancy things. Okay, well, enough of me, flexing. Enough of me flexing on you with my expensive camera gear. Let's go ahead and start modding a Super Nintendo. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and, in this video, we're going to be doing both the Dejitter and the RGB mod. So, I'm going to go ahead and start prepping everything on this board for both mods, so we can be kind of efficient. So the first thing we're going to need to do is remove the old crystal. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to add some new solder to the old crystal. And then we're going to do that, and it just falls right out. So really easy to get out of there. You just need to heat both leads simultaneously and they'll fall right out. And these crystals are the exact same type of crystal that you're going to be putting into your Dejitter board. So if you build these boards like on demand, like per use, you can actually just pull the crystal out of the board you're working on and put it into your Dejitter board. Now I build these Dejitter boards in bulk, so I order separate crystals and then I save up these old crystals so that next time around maybe I don't have to order them. But I have a pretty large supply of them, so I can build at any given time. I can have like 40 or so Dejitter boards ready to go. Not that I generally keep that many built. It's kind of a lot of work. So not something I normally do. But anyway, I will be doing it. I've got an order in on some parts for the Dejitter board, so I will be doing a video on building these and programming them. A lot of people have a lot of trouble programming these. I did originally as well, and I would like to do a video showing how I do it now, the full setup, start to finish. So that I can make it as easy for other people to do it as well. Okay. A couple more things need to get prepped. We need to trim the leg of this capacitor right here because it is in the way of the RGB board. And then we'll just go ahead and position the RGB board and solder it in place. All right, so that's good. We got our vias down here that are going to be RGB and sync. And we have new ribbon cable this time. I acquired this stuff. I don't know if I might have mentioned it on a previous video, but this stuff right here is awesome. The jacketing on it doesn't shrink back under the heat like the old stuff that I used to use. So it is really easy to work with in comparison. Okay. So we're just going to strip back a little bit of wire. We need 3 leads, so let's just go ahead and peel back. Yeah, we can make this work. Now, all we need is 3 leads right now, because C-Sync is going to be going down to the Dejitter board, so we're not going to be running it directly up to the RGB bypass just yet. So we need to go from here to here. Okay. I always try to cut these at an angle that sort of matches the angle of the board, like of how it passes across the board, because that should, in theory, allow me to do the cleanest wire run. Okay, I think that should be good. Alright, let's go ahead and strip these wires. My preferred method for stripping these is, I've shown this before, but I like to use a hobby knife to score the jacket, and then I'll just use my side cutters here to just grab and remove the jacketing from it. Okay, we'll go ahead and tin this this end up. This is the end we're going to actually be installing into the vias of the Super Nintendo board. Oh. So we're just going to take and bend these over and then try to flatten them out so that they go straight into the board. So this right here is kind of what you're looking for. Can we get some focus? Ah, there we go. So that right there is kind of what you're looking for, so that they can go straight down into the vias on the board. So let's zoom in a little more. Ooh, look at that zoom. This new setup's great. I really like this lens, and being able to shoot full frame 4K is fantastic. The quality just seems to be excellent. Let's see if I can try to get a better angle here for you to see what's going on. Okay, 2 are in. That last one is trying not to cooperate. Okay, so that right there, see that? That's called perfection. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to change out solder tips, because this tip is not great for this super fine stuff. Gonna get my favorite tip, my little hook tip here, which is perfect for this sort of thing. That's what it should look like right there. Okay. So now looks like I cut this wire too short, actually. We'll see. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. What a shame. What a shame. We're gonna have to redo it. Damn. Damn. That was nice. It's too bad it didn't work out. Ah, this sucks. See if we can get those vias cleaned out. This is going to be much harder. Always have excess wire. I think it's like a general rule that if you think you have enough, that you probably don't. And sadly, I am like out of flux. I'm out of Amtech flux, which is making my life a lot harder. But I do have more on order from store.lewisrossman.com, I think is what it is. So we're good there. He does have it back in stock again, so I will have more flux. But for this moment right now, I am kind of low. That last little via there just does not want to cooperate. There it goes. Okay. Okay, we're good. It'll be possible to install this. Alright, so this was too short. So we need to make a longer one. Man, what a shame. What a shame. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to snip off. This is much longer. It's much, trust me, it's much longer. So we're going to take our old wire and we're just going to match it up and try to cut the same angle. Because I think I pretty much nailed it as far as the angle is concerned. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Let's do this again. What a disappointment. I'm really disappointed in the outcome of that last one, because that was looking real nice. Yeah, I'll tell you, one of the nice things about this new lens setup is that I'm probably going to keep my head out of the way better now, because the lens is much larger. So it kind of is in the way, in a good way, because it keeps me, it helps me to recognize where I am in comparison to, in relation to the actual camera. So it's good. It's good. Done again. Let's try this again. Okay. All right. Good there. Oh no! It's fine. It's fine. That via is not important. That's not the C-Sync via. C-Sync via is this one. Not this one. Okay, now, do you think I have enough wire this time? Think I left myself enough wire? I'm almost inclined to say that maybe. Maybe I did. So we're going to cut it right there. And we're going to trim it right over here on the motherboard. We're going to give ourselves a good large amount of trim because they're pretty large pads we're soldering to. You know, I have a theory, and I want to try this out on a future board. I'd like to design a version of this bypass that has the Dejitter board built into it. And the thing is that with the Dejitter board, it's like the perfect spot for it is down where it's normally installed. But generally these bypasses are way up here. So if you tried to integrate the Dejitter board into an RGB bypass, you'd either have to move the Dejitter board up, which is not really an optimal location for the Dejitter board, or you'd have to move the RGB bypass down. Well, I was thinking about it, and you know, if you really think about it, this setup doesn't make as much sense as having the RGB bypass down here, because the output is amplified, which means it's less susceptible to noise and things like that than the input into the amp, which is a lower level of signal. So wouldn't it make more sense to, instead of run these low level signals across the board to this amp, to have the shortest, wouldn't it make more sense to just have the shortest possible run from here to the amp, and then have the amp transmission lines run the longer distance? That seems to make sense to me. So if we integrated the RGB bypass into this board as just an additional component, you know, set of components to it, then you could set this board, you know, where you normally do, right about here, right? And then you just have a short little jump from here to there. And then you'd run everything from down there up to the AV port. I recognize that this makes it easy to install, having the AV port as like part of the Dejitter board, or I mean as part of the bypass board. But like in terms of like functionality, I feel like it would be much better to have it positioned down here. I don't know. Perhaps I'm crazy. Perhaps I'm missing something really critical that everybody else knows that I don't. But, you know, I don't know. Seems reasonable to me. Just adding some adhesive. As I said on the last round of these installs, I use a 3M adhesive. It's a red-backed foam adhesive, and it's really excellent because it elevates the boards off of the surface of the main board, which I think, you know, as far as I can tell, seems to help with you know, isolation, because any kind of contacts, like on the back of this board, you've got the legs of the crystal come through back there, and this just elevates them up above the board, which I think reduces any chance of any kind of like damage to the board, shorts or anything like that. But that's just my opinion. Okay. Okay, let's see here. And as I always do, I'm gonna check power connectivity. C5 is where we're gonna hook up power. I just gotta check that C5 is what I think it is. Because there's always the risk. Let's see here. Okay, so that's ground. That's 5 volts. Okay, so 5 volts is on the left side. Ground is on the right side. Well, on the bright side, we can use these failed wires from earlier to do this part. It's got to be a more fit. You know what? That would work pretty well. Trying to think of more efficient ways to run these wires. That would work really well. Yeah, that looks nicer too. I like my wire runs to look nice. It's aesthetic. I mean, it doesn't really matter that much, but I do like my wire runs to look nice. It's a quality, you know, it's about putting in the extra effort to produce a quality product. Not everybody does it. But I do think it kind of separates the wheat from the chaff. Nice looking wire runs aren't necessarily nice functioning wire runs, but you know, if you can do both, then you're you know, you're cool. And I think your customers would probably appreciate it, you know, and you yourself can admire it. Admire the quality of your work, you know. It's nice. I like to be proud of the work that I do. You know, one of the nicest things about modern, you know, modding is that you can send off and have a PCB manufactured for just about anything. Like, if you can put in a little bit of time to learn a PCB, you know, CAD type software, then you can produce a PCB, custom PCB, to do just about anything you need it to do. So, you know, the days of like running really nasty, you know, nests of wire all over the place should be pretty much over, because you can order a nice PCB that keeps everything nice and neat. You're not running point-to-point solder on individual components and all that sort of stuff, at least, you know, for the most part. There are some things that a PCB will probably never be practical for. I mean, like this, you wouldn't make a PCB that spans all these areas and connects all these items, but at the same time, you can do better than, you know, this is much better than if I tried to hand wire these you know, CPLDs and all these components together with, you know, through-hole components, which is the kind of stuff that I probably would have done years ago. Especially like for the RGB amps. I mean, who hasn't seen like the older, you know, coarser pitch RGB amps that are like wired together with, you know, through-hole resistors, and they're just kind of like a mess back here. The boards make it so much nicer. You can do good quality work without, you know, I mean, it helps you because you end up putting in less work to have a quality, you know, a quality product. And I think that's super important. It's not about whether or not you're a soldering master. It's about whether you produce a quality product. And if you can produce a quality product without doing anything crazy, you know, more power to you. Okay, we need to remove C3. Need to remove C3 right here. Apparently it may not be necessary, per Mark's recent comments that Mark's made in the thread for this. But that may be dependent on what model specifically you have. But, I mean, I just do it anyway, because that's what he originally told me whenever we were originally testing out the boards initially. And so, you know, why it works. I know it works, so why change it up? Is my perspective on the issue. We're also removing R3 and C11, so we can replace those. And, you know, while we're here, might as well go ahead and do it. So okay, that's done. Let's go ahead and run our clock line. Okay, so now all we have left is C-Sync in and C-Sync out. So for C-Sync in, that is coming from this via right here and going to C-Sync out. Okay, last one. And we're done. When we get that done, we have performed all the mods we intended to. Okay, we're coming from C-Sync O. So that right there should be enough. So I cut that. That's more than enough, but we don't want to make the same mistake we made last time. So okay. Ought to do it right there. Let's just take a moment to touch up a couple of these spots. Yep, I figured that was going to happen. I wasn't super happy with the way it looked, though. Yeah. There we go. That looks good. Let's do this one again. Okay. Those are good. Alrighty. That right there looks like a complete mod. So, let's go ahead and pop in a game. Do Japanese Mario Kart. Give it the old in and out routine here. Make sure we got a good connection. Yoo-hoo. Avermedia. Do you detect OSSC? There we go. That's more like it. Okay, let's see here. SCART cable. Nothing. Almost something. Let's Ooh, that's weird. Oh, it's so hard to tell where the problem is. Is it my OSSC? Is it my capture card? What is it? You see, the surefire way to know if it's working is to just plug it into a PVM. And that's what I'm going to do. Because I don't know what's going on here. Well, there's RGB detected, but no video. So is that bad card? Yeah, that's all it was. Okay. Let's plug this back into the OSSC and see what we get. Ah, that's so weird. My OSSC is acting up. No sync. That's bizarre. That is bizarre. This OSSC was working just fine. Like yesterday. Weird. Well, you're just gonna have to trust me. No sync on RGBS. Okay. That is real weird. I wonder who's at fault here. It's briefly picking up sync periodically, but not enough to like actually show a picture. That is bizarre. At this point, I don't know what the problem is, but it's clearly an issue with the OSSC because it works fine. Works fine on the PVM. Okay. Let's plug in the cheapo SCART adapter and see if we get a solution there. I'm guessing the cheapo SCART adapter is going to work fine. Not trying to hate on the OSSC. It's just this one, I've never had any trouble out of it. To be honest, it's pretty bizarre that I'm having issues. But there you go. There's a RGB mod, dejittered and everything. That's so weird. Huh. Well, I may have some more work ahead of me. Trying to sort this problem out. Well, anyway, there you go. That's a Super Nintendo modded in all the ways that Super Nintendos need to be modded, or minis need to be modded. So, I hope you enjoyed. I thank you for watching, and I hope you join me next time.